All right, what's up, everybody? Hey, I had to bring the best, the man, the myth, the legend, Marques Brownlee in the house because we're gonna do something special for you. What's up, Marques?
Good to be here, man. I'm happy to be talking 2022 stuff. Yeah.
Ooh, like a little reflection here, right? So,
Yeah.
I don't. This is the thing we kind of talked about this. We're gonna do a best of 2022, but Marquez has kind of what he thinks are best of. I have things that I think are best of. We actually don't even know what categories we're going to throw out there. We
Yeah.
just thought like, let's talk tech, let's talk whatever, and maybe you might learn something about us along the way. So I say without further ado, let's just not like waste anyone's time. Since you are the guest here for
Just
the
jump
best
right
of
in.
2022, Marquez. Yeah, I'm gonna have you start with your category first.
All right. So I'm not going to start with my hottest take. I'm just going to I'll give you one. I'll
Okay,
see what
okay,
your
okay,
reaction
okay,
is. So
okay,
a lot of
okay.
new electric cars out this year, right? This is sort of a movement
Yeah.
we've been evolving, getting new EVs. Best new electric vehicle of 2022. Ford F-150 Lightning.
Ooh. Now, here's the thing. I know you've seen a lot of cars. You've driven a lot of cars, so I think you're in one of those unique positions to really be able to compare these.
Yeah.
I know where I'm leaning. I've done a test drive, but I don't own a Rivian yet. I know you own a Rivian, is that right? The red
Yeah,
R1T?
yeah. I
Yo, yo.
actually picked the Rivian over the Ford. Personally, I like it better. It's sportier. It's a little smaller. But I just think as far as things that we needed to exist, some of these companies are going like crazy. Their first EV will be something like totally out of the blue that doesn't match the rest of their lineup. Think Mustang Mach-E or the Hummer EV, I guess, was kind of in line. But the F-150 is so popular, we just needed an electric version of the already popular F-150. And now that that's real, it's so much easier to like understand what benefits electric has. That thing has a gigantic front trunk. I think that's the best one.
It's got junk in the frunk.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I think it's worth it. It's like it helps to be able to talk about other EVs. Like there are actually better vehicles. I do think the Rivian's better. I think Lucid made some really interesting strides this year. But that's my semi hot take is the F-150 Lightning is definitely the most important new electric vehicle that came out in 2022.
So I think this is a cool distinction because some of the things that I have here to pose to us are the best depending on context, right? You're saying the F-150 is the most arguably important and needed to happen, but your personal favorite EV is the
Yeah.
Rivian R1T, correct?
That is true. That is true.
Okay. Okay. Based on the cars that I have been able to try out and drive, I was one of those mid R1T reservations, not after they raised the price, but I'm kind of waiting for the max package. Like I want the longer distance. So they told me, even if I could change my my configuration to 2023, I'm just gonna be patient and wait it out till they told me 2024.
I think that's the move.
Like,
I think that's the move. Honestly, it's going to be
really,
so.
really?
I currently probably get 285 miles out of a full tank, which is like if that's my only car, that's a little light for me. I want to see three something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
allegedly
absolutely.
400 with the max pack. Hopefully it's around that number, which would be nice. But I think that's the right move to stay patient for that one. But it's good. You're gonna like it.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes the tech-based patience can be a good virtue. Okay, so this is good. We're talking cars. I actually want to throw this out because we're on cars and you kicked it off with this. I have a best car feature of 2022. So I know you've played with a lot of cars. Is there maybe a feature that is unique to cars? And we're going to see a whole lot of cars at CES this year. Maybe a feature that kind of where you're like,
There's a lot of, I think in the car world, kind of like smartphones, there's a lot of features that come out that are really cool, but then you have to take a second and think, okay, is this gimmick or really useful? And I did a video on Tesla's full self-driving beta that I finally got access to, and it's teetering on the line. It's really interesting trying to see that thing drive you around. But there is an endless world of gimmicks. So I'm curious what you've got, but I know of a lot of gimmicks I could name.
okay, I got one gimmick that yeah, maybe the best gimmick. Let's just
Okay.
call it that for now. I thought it was kind of cool, and I don't know. I only used it for about a week, but I kind of thought you might butcher me on this one. The Genesis GV60 has this face detection, which is
Okay.
kind of like it sounds silly. It's you're right. It's like Face ID for your car. Basically, you don't have to use. You literally. I know we have our phones with the cars, but you can walk up to your car, It's kind of like a dual authentication, two-factor authentication in essence with your phone. It was kind of gimmicky, but I'm like, I mean, this is just the first gen. Maybe there's something there. I don't know.
It's cool if it works. I'm testing a Mercedes EQS SUV right now that has a fingerprint reader.
SUV.
Yeah, fingerprint reader in the center console. So if you have multiple driver profiles, you just tap your finger and everything lines up because there's about 8,000 settings in that car. So it just lines you up, which is cool. I'm a one car, one driver type of person, so I'm not using these types of features, but that is pretty cool to think about. I guess that's a potentially useful feature. And Genesis is doing really good stuff this year.
Dude. Yeah, the Hyundai brand is doing like a lot of killer stuff, just consumer and Genesis line. Okay, your turn, my friend.
Okay, let me pull up my doc here. I got a doc actually. I wrote some stuff down.
I got some stuff too.
Okay. So worst. I don't want to say worst. Let's go with most underwhelming tech product of the year.
Okay.
Right. So in tech, it's really all about tech products. So you're trying to manage expectations. Like if you have a whole ton of hype and then you come out and you're not that good, your delta's kind of big. You're kind of underwhelming. If you keep the hype low and you over deliver, that's actually better. But if you keep the hype too low, maybe you won't sell. So this one was a bunch of self-imposed hype. We all were hoping for an amazing Pixel Watch, and we got a very average Pixel Watch. Most underwhelming product of the year.
So as you were saying this, my first inkling, because I actually had it here, like most disappointing kind of was Pixel Watch.
Yeah.
Because some people will really champion it I've heard a lot of people talk about how, it's better over time, but I think it also goes to show how hard it is to make a first-gen product for a company who really hasn't played in this space enough. And it takes time. Like we saw Apple's Apple Watch really came to maturity maybe 3-4 years into the game. Google's Pixel Watch, though, now what? How many years after the Apple Watch? We're at Series 8 right now. First entry. You're hoping for more, but it felt like I don't want to call it a beta. I know a lot of people work on all these things that you and I cannot make, but it did not hit the mark.
Yeah.
It did not hit the mark.
Yeah, and to be fair, the mark was like very self-imposed. We wanted it to be Apple Watch Series 8 competitor. And then there's also like the question of like, is it really first gen? Like we've had Wear OS, we've had like Moto 360 and all these pseudo first party things in the past. I guess it is a first gen watch, but like, I don't know, it's Google. We're treating them like a startup, but like we wanted so much. So yeah, it was rough. Look, it works. It will do most of what's advertised, but like from the UI to the battery life to the pairing issues, I'm not out here recommending that. So I think we're on the same page about Pixel Watch relative to expectations anyway.
Yeah, that's a good call. I like how you said it. Most underwhelming. Oh, okay. We're both wearing different types of earbuds, headphones for different reasons right now. But what about best headphone of 2022? So let's say over the ear headphone. What did you have? I guess this time I'll start with mine. I'll let you think about it because if I throw it at you, you're like, dude, give me a second to think about it. Right? So there's so many headphones out there. The market is pretty saturated. All the big players have them out. I'm not here to rip on them, but I think over the years, Bose has shown that they're kind of there's a lot of like legacy hype, but the actual quality of the audio is not up to par with a lot of the companies out there. I'm just keeping it real. So I'm gonna say, I mean, it's hard, but I love these. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I chose the XM5s from Sony, but they're still on sale. I might throw out the XM4s.
I was gonna go there.
Headphones of 2022.
Yeah, that's really funny. So I was gonna defer to you because, like, okay, I've tested a decent amount of over-ear headphones, but I haven't done as much Sennheiser as I want. I haven't done as much Audio Technica. There's a bunch of them. I go to CES every year. There's like 1,000, right? But I know I got to test the new Bose. I got my hands on those, the new Sonys, the XM5s, and in my review of the Mark 5s, I was like, honestly, now that they've come out, the Mark 4s are cheaper and they're every bit as good, and you just might as well just get those. So even if they didn't come out, I guess, during the calendar year of 2022, they're probably the best over-ear headphones to buy in 2022. I would agree with you on that one.
That's what I was like. Oh, I guess I mean, as I wrote the best of, I'm like, actually, I kind of feel this way. I'm just gonna do it. The other disclaimer here is, yes, Marquez and I do have the opportunity to try a lot of tech, but we don't cover everything. So if there's holes in our opinions, guess what? That's just how it is. Don't get mad at us. Don't get okay. Just calm down, everybody.
You can only try so many things.
Your turn.
Okay, I'll stick with the headphones theme because I like where you were going with that.
Okay.
And I was actually gonna go maybe spicy take on this one.
Okay,
Apple's best product of 2022 was the AirPods Pro 2. Am I crazy for that?
Okay, I need to show you my doc. right here. I literally wrote best Apple product of 2022.
Okay.
I'm going to screen cap my doc right now so people know. AirPods Pro 2, because I was going to ask you. I didn't want to start off with Apple because everyone's like, oh, everyone, we always talk about Apple, but
we'll work our way up to it.
Let's hear your case for it.
So, I mean, theoretically, Apple makes a lot of great products. The MacBook Pros, is that a last year product, I guess? So the MacBook Pros are great. New iPhone comes out every year, very solid. And they make a bunch of smaller stuff that you could consider Apple Watch Ultra one of their best products. You could consider, the new MacBook, but the AirPods Pro 2 from a package, just for the price, best noise cancellation, adaptive transparency mode. I think it really, for me, is transparency mode. I think that's the one thing where all these new earbuds come out with noise cancellation, and they all also have to do their own version of transparency mode. And I've tested probably a dozen of the highest end noise canceling earbuds at this point. None of them come close to Apple's transparency mode. And so if you care at all about transparency mode, it's kind of a no-brainer. Mics are pretty good. Call quality is good. Features are good. If you use an iPhone, it's just, you got to have these earbuds are the best. Sorry. That's it.
100% agree. I think also when you look at Apple's product lineup, I just think about even, let's say, the holidays and price. So they're $249. Holiday deals are around $199. How are you going to beat that as a gift for someone? But again, everything that you said, I'm on board. I'm really curious, as time goes on, when you talk about transparency mode, talking to a few people, I know it's maybe not socially accepted or people are used to yet, but people wearing these at concerts with transparency mode to regulate the damaging sound levels. I've talked to one person who actually used it and said people gave him weird looks, but it sounded like the concert as is, without kind of getting those really shrieky peaks. So I'm curious, because you talk about transparency mode, which is maybe a little underrated until you actually see what it's like versus others. I wonder if this is the type of product that, because it's Apple also, that people might start using them in situations like that.
Yeah, I sort of mentioned it in passing in my review that because of the way it handles the sound signatures and the loud sounds in such close to real time, theoretically you could do this. You could go to a concert with these in and just have the music playing at a lower volume. And then after that, I started getting tweets of people who went to concerts and who tried it and who reported back and were like, dude, yes, I did it. And it sounded great. I didn't even see comments too much about people judging them or whatever, but the feature works. So, I'm hoping everybody steps up their game with their transparency mode for the next year or two. But as of right now, head and shoulders above the rest, AirPods Pro 2. Yeah.
And best Apple product of 2022.
Yeah.
Correct?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, man. I was hoping for more controversy here with us, but okay, we're pretty aligned. We have not planned this, people. This is just totally raw. Okay. Let's see. Okay, we can bounce around to tech and non-tech. How about this? This is a constantly changing thing. What about your best or favorite emoji, your most favorite emoji for 2022? Personally, it could be, I don't know. Okay. I haven't really even thought of mine yet, but I'm going to throw it out there. I'm
gonna just check my, if it's in your recents, it's probably up there, right? Okay.
Actually, are you confident enough to show us on camera your most recent, how okay, let's do that.
I don't know what this,
that'll be fun.
I don't know what this says about me.
We'll see how it picks.
Can you see that if I put it
just
up
hold
to
it there? Yeah, that's pretty good.
Up to the webcam.
Let's see. Okay, so I got the thumbs up. We got a lot of the smiley face. I'm gonna try and find what's unique. Okay, we got a camera. We got the high fives.
I like the
trophy. Okay, I thought Which one's is it a face melt?
The face melt, all the way on the side, on the fourth row.
Oh yeah, okay.
I've been using that one a good amount lately. There's a frisbee emoji in there, and yeah, there's some trophies. I did a good amount of winning this year, so I feel like I used that trophy emoji more than usual. So that's pretty solid.
You're always winning, bro. Okay, here we go. Let's go to mine now. Okay, here we go. I don't know. I'm just gonna use the Zoom one.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Okay, the fire emoji, big
There's
fan.
some questionable ones there. Yeah, fire. There's some questionable ones there only because I did a music video using silly emojis in a questionable way. So just don't judge me for that. We see eggplant. We see taco. We see peach. We see squirt. Just pretend those are not. I don't know if actually those are my normal rotation.
Okay, question. Do you see this one? Do you see this one as praying hands or high five? I feel like that's a divisive one.
Oh, I see it as thank you.
Yeah.
Or a prayers up.
Because some people see this as high fiving, and I never saw it that way. Yeah, I never saw it that way, but apparently that's a sort of a split. Maybe it's not a 50-50 split, but
so it would mean you and I would have to literally like high five at the perfect angle, and it would form this symmetrical thing.
That's a thank you hands to me.
Best. So so I think the trophy and the melting face were your two unique ones. I
For
like
sure.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn, sir.
Okay. All right. I have my best trend of 2022. So I had to think about this one a little bit because you get social media trends, you get like TikTok trends that sort of come up and die. You could argue that shorts as a whole is a trend. There's a lot of things you could consider here. But for my best trend of 2022, I'm going with Wordle. Wordle was my favorite trend of the year. It had a huge crest. Obviously, almost everyone I knew had played at least once or heard about it. I happen to still be playing Wordle all by myself. But yeah, I had a good time with it. I think it leapt me into like the New York Times crossword world, which was fun. But Wordle was huge.
I like that. I would say, but you're not posting your Wordle scores though. I don't feel like you know how people were doing on a daily for a while.
Yeah, so I'm still doing it every day, but it's not trending like it was. So it feels kind of late for me to be posting my Wordle. I feel like actually recently I did get like a 2 and I posted it and people were like, "Man, you still play Wordle though?" Like that's kind of old news.
You got to own that, Marques. You got to own that, man.
I do.
You do have the ability to kind of push the narrative a little sometimes. So I said like. There might be a second coming of Wordle.
Look, I play it. So if people come back to it, I'm here waiting. It's good.
Okay. That's a nice one. I'm on board with that. I'm going to, as you ask that question, I'm going to come up with what I thought is a trend that everyone is, how about this? A most common trend of a word that is used, not Wordle, but a word, metaverse. Metaverse was used ad nauseum in 2022, whether or not people knew what it meant, what it is, what it will be. I mean, it's still this forming thing that every company that has skin in the game and money in the game is pushing towards us. And it's beyond just Facebook or Meta with the metaverse. It's a lot of companies. So I would say 2022, one of those trends would definitely be using the word metaverse a lot.
Tech word of the year. Yeah, the tech word of the year. Yeah, there's like a galaxy of words that surround it, like AR, VR, Web 3.0, crypto, even like just things that don't even seem related to it, like blockchain and like what are we even talking about here? But yeah, the metaverse has dominated our headlines for sure, even today, even to this like all year.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I could disagree with that. That's pretty good. I think how like the Merriam-Webster dictionary does like a word of the year every year. I think metaverse was second place this year, and the first place one was something I'd never heard of. It was like goblin mode or something. I have no clue what that is, but metaverse made their list too, so it's got to be good for something.
I didn't know that. That's good info. That's good info there. Is goblin mode like gaming related?
I honestly didn't even look it up. I have no clue. I think it's younger than us. It never hit us. Just never hit us.
Bro, okay, if you're saying younger than us, you know I'm older than you. So it's like,
I know, but
for you, it's younger than you. For me, it's younger.
yeah, there's a whole generation up to. I mean, I'm 29 now. I feel like there's a solid entire generation. We were just talking about this at the studio that doesn't really use computers. Like they don't know what file structure is because they just have an iPad, right? Like they don't move file. They don't care about in the cloud versus local to device. They just use the iPad. So like that what's a computer girl from that ad that we all like to joke about is kind of a real person that's grown up now, which is crazy. So yeah, that's younger than us, bro.
All right. Let's do. Let me look at my list. Okay.
Yeah.
We've had some bests, but we also said we could kind of pivot in directions. What do you think? This is very broad and open. But worst or one of the worst moments in tech. All right. So I'm gonna let you marinate on that. I'm gonna start talking about mine a little bit. Whether you love him or hate him, I think the whole energy around the Twitter sale to Elon Musk and all the discourse and hot takes and cold takes might have been the worst for me. Might have been the worst moment because I think there's a point where it became even less about. Well, no, it was about Twitter, but it became part of Elon. Then it was part of Twitter. Then it was back to Elon. There's people who lost their jobs. It was just an ugly moment in tech, and I think if it never existed, we all would have been for the better of it. So I'm gonna say my worst moment in tech this year had to be I'll call it the Twitter debacle.
Okay, that's fair, and it's so much more than a moment. It's just like a thing. Just this thing,
and it's like still a thing. It's going to be a thing for a while, right?
For sure,
it's not going away anytime soon.
Okay, I kind of thought about mine for a second, and it's sort of tied hand in hand with a product, but not entirely the product's fault. If you'll hear me out, the unveiling of the Meta Quest Pro, the presentation. You know, the Zuckerberg walking around the stage, like basically a robot giving us the lowdown on this new $2,000 headset. And then I actually got the headset and got to try it. Like, I made the video about this. Don't get me wrong. It's not a good headset at all, but it has a lot of good ideas. Okay. So if you think far enough into the future about like what Meta's trying to do and AR and VR, it like kind of makes more sense that they're trying to make this exist. But like the product itself, bad, very bad. 0 people that I would recommend it to, 0 reason it should cost that much, and almost nothing that it actually does well in a standalone way. But overall, I will say the unveiling and the here it is of the MetaQuest Pro was just nothing great there for me.
So that might fall under for you one maybe second place for most underwhelming moment and arguably one of the worst moments in tech for you in 2022.
Yeah, it's because the Quest 2 is so good that you would expect
it's $400 now, but yeah.
Right. So when you see Quest 2, $400, really fun, then you'd expect new product from the same company in the same like product category that's $2,000. You'd expect amazing. So that's where the disappointment comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to justify for, even if they tried to swing it for enterprise, it's hard to swing the argument that this is literally $1,600 more, and what you're getting for $1,600 more at any level for any type of user, it didn't make sense other than to put out like we're trying to push the needle, we're trying to move the needle forward for us, and eventually we'll get there. But
yeah, still waiting to see.
All right.
I got one more for you actually that I think might be. I'm curious what your answer will be. Right, mine. Okay, my category is the thing that we got the most wrong this year. So, during the year, we get to see a lot of tech products come out, and we're very early to it. So we get to judge it, and we go, oh, this is really cool. I think people are going to love it. Or, this is really kind of a gimmick. I don't think you should buy it because of this. And we mostly get things right. I think we pretty fair with products. Like 5G came out, and we were very skeptical about things. And we get good products, and we know they're good right off the bat. When Apple showed us the iPhone 14 Pro, and I saw the animations and the presentation on Dynamic Island, I thought that would be so much bigger of a deal to regular people. And it turned out to just kind of be like, meh, don't really care. Which in hindsight makes perfect sense. It's like it's almost the same phone. It's got a little cooler animation up top. I thought it was sick. I could tell the programming and everything that went into it was impressive, but I was so wrong about Dynamic Island. It just is just a small, it's just a little thing. Just a little aesthetic thing. It's cool though.
And that's a good one. I think part of also, even if we obviously haven't seen really Dynamic Island completely unleashed from a live activity standpoint, it's still like in progress. But to your point, the general consumer, how many of them care from a standpoint of, in my review, and I didn't say you have to get this phone for Dynamic Island. If you're the tech enthusiast that loves the kind of the newest toy, you'll enjoy this. But if you're my friends who don't upgrade every year, you shouldn't get the iPhone just for the Dynamic Island.
Right. Exactly. Fully agreed.
Okay. That's a good one. Dang. So what's the category? I guess
it's just like my categories, like what I was thinking something would happen versus how it actually went. So I saw that Dynamic Island presentation. I think I tweeted like, "Oh my God, people are gonna love this. This is the biggest new feature."
It was sick.
It was cool, right? I was in the moment. I was in the theater. I was like fully into it. But it turned out to not have the impact that I suspected it would.
Okay, this is a great kind of admission, but also it's true. I love how you said, like, in the theater. I don't think people understand that when you're on Apple's campus and when you're in the room in the presentation, it translates different than being outside. It translates from like just kind of sitting on your couch and watching the presentation versus being in there, sometimes feeling the energy that is created by Apple and their employees. Sometimes, though, it's the energy of our peers. Like, I was sitting next to Jedner, your average consumer, and we both were like, oh, when we saw Dynamic Island, we were like, this is sick. Mm-hmm. And it's flashy. But right, do you feel that energy that I'm talking about, right? Like, it kind of can sometimes kind of influence you, that little hype energy, right?
Yeah, no, it's 1,000% on purpose, and it's 100% why Apple wanted to bring events back to in person. Like, they kind of got away with, a year or two of like these remote events, which was really convenient for us because they just ship us the product and then there it is, objective overview. But they know they intentionally create a vibe, an atmosphere. I mean, if you've never seen the videos, like, you walk up to the doors and there's like, bright smiling faces like, hey, how you doing? You excited for today? Like, it's obviously intentional. And I'm sitting there trying to be like, yeah, no, I'm ready. I'm ready to see the thing. Show me the thing. I got the blinders on. Let's see what the thing is. I have my context ready. But, it's a beautiful building. It's a beautiful campus, the theater. The weather's always perfect. So they don't even think about what if it rains. That's not even on the radar. They're just like, okay, we're going to have you in golf carts go from the theater to the fitness center and do all these things. It's just like it's a different vibe. So it's intentional for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of history and even just being in Apple's campus, which is people just can't walk into there, right? There's this feeling of like, oh, you're invited to this, no matter how many times we've gone, it is an exclusive event. The whole tech world is watching, and we happen to be lucky enough to be at the epicenter of it. And so there's so much kind of going into that. But at the same time, even if you try and stay, we all are, covering this, but that it does have influence. No matter what you say, it does.
Yeah, you kind of just have to take a deep breath, take your time. Remember what you're there for. That's sort of my MO.
Oh yeah, I know what we're there for. We're there for like the freaking cattle call of 500, 1,000 journalists just crashing that place.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. You know what? If it comes up, it's hard for me to think off the top of my head what let us down or was overhyped. So, if I come up with my response to that, I'll let you know. Okay, let's. Do you have any more tech ones, or do you have some of the like the off the cuff ones now?
I think the rest are pretty.
Are you tapped out?
Yeah, I have one that's like kind of tech, but not really, sort of. You could tell me. I'll give it to you. You could tell me what you think.
Okay.
Platform of the year. Platform of the year. As far as
I had service of the year.
Okay, so when I'm thinking platform, I'm thinking.
So I'll let you go first.
Yeah, it's like you really only have so many choices. You have the big ones, the obvious ones: YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And then you have like the smaller, more focused ones that maybe have, whether it's like a service, like you might say Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, something like that. But I just think like social media platform. And my platform of the year is the only one not to royally screw something up in an apocalyptic way. And that is YouTube.com.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be YouTube then.
It's YouTube, because everyone from Twitch to Instagram to whatever's happening at Twitter, like at something crazy. And when you're a creator, you always want stability. You want predictability, something you can build a small business on. And YouTube's just been that rock. Oh, something's happening over with Twitch? Come on over here. I bet you like what we got with live streaming. Oh, what's that? Your short form videos on TikTok are incredibly inconsistent. It's owned by China. Did you say it's owned by China? Come on over here. Come on, we got shorts over here. And it's just like across the board, you look at what everyone's trying to do, and they're trying to get what YouTube's got.
Oh, you're looking for the best monetization platform as a creator that's consistent? Come on, we got you covered. That. Oh, you have 1 million views on that Instagram reel, but you're getting $100? Yeah. You go, come on this way, big boy. Like for real. That's a great call. And I think what's interesting is when you talk about best platform, you know, we've seen it, it's just so it's so thirsty. A lot of these platforms, once they see something hot, they all just like completely change who they are. Like Instagram changed the core of who they are, and it has not been for the better, right? They've completely like no longer, you put up a photo on Instagram, no one cares. It's not even pushed out in the algorithm. You put up a reel that means nothing. You're most likely going to get more on that reel than you ever would on that photo. That might really be what you want to show off to people. But, you know, Instagram's all over the place, trying to be TikTok, trying to be Snapchat. I mean, they've always been. But the interesting thing is, though, although YouTube did incorporate these other features, they didn't do it in a dramatic way that changed the core of who they are. So, right to your point, like there is a little more competition between shorts and long form video, but it wasn't like it was a complete train wreck, and it hasn't been yet. And now people are going to be able to monetize shorts, but in February?
Yeah, pretty soon. We always have this thing we do on the Waveform podcast where we ask this question, which is it a feature or a platform? And the question gets really interesting when you're like, TikTok is clearly, you know, blowing up. It's everywhere. You've got short form vertical videos that find you. You don't search them. They just find you through the algorithm. Is that a platform or a feature? And of course, TikTok will say it's a platform, but YouTube's like, yeah, we'll just add that. That's a feature of YouTube. You can dive into shorts if you want, but we're still YouTube. Twitch is live streaming with obviously the chat going and the emojis and all the things that happen on the side with the even people donating. That is a platform. That's Amazon's Twitch. Or is it just a feature of YouTube, right? It's like we have live streaming here. We have all the super chats and the memberships and everything that looks exactly the same, but YouTube is still YouTube. So every time a new thing pops off, whether it's Snapchat stories, getting stolen by Instagram, and then everyone having stories, and then everyone getting rid of stories, it's always that question, which is like, all right, you can base an entire platform around this, or you can admit that this probably is just a feature that's going to get added to other platforms, and YouTube has just been that rock, so yeah.
It's the rock. It is absolutely the rock. I remember, I think there was an exchange between you and Elon where he was basically touting, you know, of course he touts a lot of things, that Twitter would you'd be able to monetize your videos just as well on Twitter. And you're like, all right, like, yeah, let's see it then.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, it's easier said than done. YouTube's got this, and YouTube went through it too. Don't get me wrong. The adpocalypse a couple years ago was a real thing, but they've learned from it, and they really they make it clear that the value proposition between viewers, creators, and YouTube itself is like lockstep. So you know what you're getting when you go to advertise on YouTube, and that's great for advertisers, and that's great for us.
Nice. Okay, let's go to how about this one? This is a random one. I'm just gonna jump around now.
Okay.
This is not to make this about us, but I did want to ask this question for you because I think this is fun. Best person you've been mistaken for. There's a lot of times where YouTubers, people come up and say, oh, hey,
yeah,
what's up? So I'm saying this would be a complimentary one that you'd be like, I'll take that. I'll take that. So there might be a few, I don't know. And it could be totally stupid and completely like, dude, I don't even look like this person.
Yeah.
But best person you've been mistaken for.
Okay. So I only get a few. I really only get a few. Judner and I get each other all the time. Like all the time. There's an NBA player named Victor Oladipo, and I get that a surprising amount. I mean, I see I see sometimes we'll be playing in a game and I'll get people like taking pictures of their TVs like, I didn't know you played for the Indiana Pacers. I didn't even know who he plays for. But I think this year,
Heat now?
Yeah, I think so. Oh yeah, he just got because in fantasy he just came off the waiver wire. But the one that I will put at the top for me, although you could argue this is good or bad, was the French World Cup player that missed the goal that lost them the World Cup. Got a lot of screenshots of that TV going, Marquez, what have you done? You let us down, man. Yeah, it would be cool to be a World Cup player, but like that wasn't me. But like, hey, that's cool.
That's good. That's really good. The one that I get the most is people think I'm from like America's Best Dance Crew. There's like some guys that had bleach stripes in their hair back in the day.
Okay.
And someone will be like, "Oh, were you that dancer guy?" And I'm like,
yeah, oh yeah, that was me.
Oh yeah. Let me show you. No, it wasn't me.
That's funny.
All right. That's good. Okay. What else you got on your list that you have cooking?
Let me reopen this. Okay, I think I have one more. So social, we did that. Dynamic Island. I said the Quest Pro, best piece of tech. I actually did my whole list now. I got my whole list. I got the cars out the way. I got the best Apple product. I mean, you could pick another company and do their best product. I feel like if you went, let's see, who did a lot of products this year? Google, Samsung.
Google.
What's the best Google product of 2022? We went over the watch. Actually, I think it's
mine right now.
I think it's definitely Pixel 7. It's definitely Pixel 7.
Pixel 7 Pro.
Yeah. Now, is it the 7 Pro or the 7?
I mean, it reminds me of XM5 versus XM4. You're probably going to be just fine, and overall, Pixel 7.
Yeah, I think the 7 is just I'm not trying to spoil my smartphone awards quite yet, but I think that's a pretty.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to spoil your awards either today.
it's a pretty great overall bang for the buck, shall we say? So yeah, I like Pixel 7 for Google's best product.
That's a little teaser. That's a teaser for y'all if you can understand words. What Marquez is trying to say. Okay, let's do this one. How about best movie? I know we're all busy, but maybe you've seen a few flicks. What is your personal best movie for 2022?
So this will be a bit of a confession. I don't watch many movies at all. So my movie watching, because I spend so much time watching YouTube videos, my movie watching is confined to whatever ends up in the seatback infotainment on an airplane. If it ends up there,
This is great.
I got time, right? I'm just sitting, I'll watch something there. So I haven't seen very many new movies. I mean, I'll go from, if you give me a top 5, I'll let you know if I've seen any of them.
So my top 5, and you'll be like, yeah, I've seen that. That's a good movie. Is that what you were saying?
I mean, I might not have seen it.
Top 5?
It's possible, yeah. I'll pick if I've seen any of them, I'll let you know. It's probably maybe 1 or 2.
Okay. My top 2 movies, I interchange them depending on what I ate for breakfast. Number 1 would be Top Gun Maverick. Have you seen that, my man? Have you seen that?
No, but I've seen a lot of trailers and teasers. I've heard good things.
The cinematography alone. You need to see it. You need to see that.
That's the one I've heard the most about.
What is it? So Sony themselves, they took, I don't remember which model of camera it was, but they took one of their top cameras and they actually created an umbilical cord so that the camera could fit in the cockpit of these fighter jets to record the footage from like Tom Cruise's perspective and the others. And this umbilical cord then housed like the rest of the system. So it was kind of like the lens system had umbilical cord going to the computer, that the heart of it.
Whoa.
And that's what they used to shoot inside the cockpit for Top Gun Maverick.
Okay, I think I've heard so many things about that movie that I'm gonna have to see that one just because of what everyone said about how incredible it was to shoot. It sounds good. I might have to go see that.
I mean, the hard part is like when people hype up a movie so much, then you're like, that's all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see enough, so I like if I go in theaters and actually see a movie, it's probably one of 2 movies I see in a theater that year. So like, the atmosphere, the big screen, the speakers, it's probably pretty good.
Okay, number 2 movie I loved, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Michelle Yeoh. It's like a multiverse flip. It's not a Marvel-esque movie at all.
Okay.
Incredible story, dynamics. I think if that's on the back of a seat on a plane and you're awake because you're not passed out from being so tired, that would be a movie worth watching. Okay, I'll just give you 3 because 5 seems so much. And then, this is going to be controversial, but from a technical standpoint, Avatar: The Way of Water.
The new Avatar. Okay.
I think, look, the story, the here's how I put it. The movie itself is just, the visuals are mind-boggling. We just haven't seen anything like this. The shooting at the higher frame rate and then it changing in between scenes is a little jarring that I don't like. But just from a movie experience, if you're a movie goer, you gotta see it in IMAX 3D, specifically with the larger format.
Okay.
The characters are very one-dimensional. I'll be real with you, but the movie is very
three-dimensional.
The visuals are, yeah.
Did you say they change frame rates between scenes?
So what happens is, from what I recall, James Cameron shot it at 48 frames per second, but within the scenes, you can tell it's tweaked, where sometimes it looks video game flowy smooth. Other times it is like, in close-up shots with 2 people talking, it looks like 24 frames per second. But it's been shot at a high frame rate and then kind of like tuned, I guess you could say. It's really interesting. It's kind of as a 30 frames per second man over here.
That is me.
The champion.
Yeah.
FPS.
That is fascinating.
I think it would be weird, but just from that, look, the reality is that I probably should read a little bit more about it, but I know it was shot at a high frame rate and it's not. Visually, you can tell it's not the same all the way through.
Right. That is interesting. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I can shoot things at high frame rates and always change up the frame rate, but
correct.
It's all about like shutter speed for me as far as like how something feels. Because if I shoot something at a super high frame rate and a fast shutter speed, I don't see how I turn that into normal like that seems tough. But, someone like James Cameron sounds up for the challenge, so maybe that's something. Now, I'm probably not going to be able to watch that and appreciate it on the seat back of an airplane.
It's 3 hours and 12 minutes, dude.
Oh, dang. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to.
You probably know you're not going to see it.
Yeah, that's a tough sell. I'm gonna see them. I'll see Top Gun. I'll do that.
You got to if there's one movie. Just from a cinematography standpoint, you got to see Top Gun.
Okay,
for sure.
I'll see Top Gun.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. The underwater scenes though look incredible because they look really flowy, but it makes sense. Like it flows more underwater than it does above land.
Got it. That's fascinating.
It's interesting. It's interesting. But okay. All right. Let's see here. Do I have any? Okay, I have 2 more, and then we'll wrap this bad boy up.
Okay.
Best thing you ate. Food. It could be a dish. It could be a snack. It could be a sweet. It could be a treat. What is the best thing that you ate in 2022?
Wow. Okay. So this one has some context. I've been trying not to have as much sugar. I've realized that I am basically addicted to sugar. Like, I don't drink coffee. I don't drink alcohol. Like, my only vice is sugar. And so I've tried to make an active effort for the past, 6 months or so, but more, especially in the last 2 months, to have less sugar. But around the holiday season and, my birthday and, pie, brownies come up, things come up. And there's just, a tray of brownies. And I just remember eating, 2 brownies after not having sugar for a while and just being like, geez, that's a lot of sugar. And it's just the rush of everything coming back to where I remember why I like sugar so much. So just a classic, oven-baked brownie. Just a standard fudge brownie. That's me.
So Brownlee's brownies?
Yeah, Brownlee's exactly. That's where
we got.
Yeah.
Hey, this, business opportunity. Someone can help you out with that one. Just the classic brownie.
Yep.
All right. Mine, this is to indulge me. My mom is from Hawaii. I go there every year. So there's a fried dough. It's not a donut per se, but it's like a donut. It's called a malasada. Are you familiar with this?
No, but is
It's
it
basically
similar to a zeppoli at all? Like
dude, I'm
it's like
so dumb. What's a zeppoli?
so that's an Italian. It's basically a fried dough with sugar on it. It's just a ball.
Like a lot of sugar on it, right?
Yeah.
So, I love fancy foofy restaurants once in a while. And so what this place did in kind of like as a take on it, they take this fried donut with sugar on it, and you like sugar. Then they put this like vanilla cream on the bottom, so it's like really like this burst of vanilla instead of putting in the middle of the donut or the malasada. And then on top, they put caviar on it. So it's like this salty,
Whoa.
sweet, classy treat. It was the best thing I ever ate. I'll show you a picture down the road.
I did not expect that.
It was incredible though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. And that's more of a specifically like I should do that in Hawaii and not try to pull that off in like Wisconsin or something.
Don't do that. Don't do that. If you go to Hawaii, hit me up. I mean, my mom is from there. I have a master list that evolves every time I go of like the places you have to eat at.
Okay.
And this place is called Miro Kaimuki. It is the place you have to go eat at when you're in Hawaii.
Okay, noted. I've been like 2 or 3 times now, but I definitely have not been there. So I have to add that to my list. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's good. It's the whole restaurant is just phenomenal. Okay, last one. Here we go. Best personal moment of 2022 as we wrap this up. Little gets you to kind of reflect on, there's a lot of things that happen with you every year, but what was maybe your favorite or one of your favorite personal moments this year?
Wow. Like I mentioned,
personal here, Marques.
Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. I did a good amount of trophy emoji winning this year, so I had a really good time. Some of your viewers might know I play Ultimate Frisbee. I play on a professional team. I play on a club team. Every 4 years is a new club world championships, and so this year was a world's year, and so I played for New York's pro team and New York's club team. And New York's club team, we won the world championships this year. And that week-long tournament culminating in a dub, I think I'm going to put that at the top of my list. It was pretty good.
That's incredible, dude. I mean, it's the World Cup of Ultimate Frisbee. That's what you participated in, right?
Essentially, yeah. And we played a huge variety of teams. We played Singapore, we played Japan, we played the UK, I think the World Cup is a pretty good explanation, actually. And yeah, very different styles from these different teams representing their countries. And to sort of have the coaching and calibration to adapt to each of these styles. And then we ended up playing another US team in the finals, but like just the path to get there and to actually overcome that was fun. Yeah, I would do that again. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
That's amazing. All right, Marques. I think unless you have any random sleepers in there, I mean, I'm tapped out now with.
You're not going to tell us your first personal favorite moment?
Oh. Well, I mean, it's kind of work related, but it's kind of not. I'm not saying go watch it, but every year I try and do like a music video parody that is linked to like a popular song and then tie it into like a tech product. So it just dropped like a day ago. I put out a video for the iPhone 14 Pro, but it's called "I'ma Need a New iPhone," and it's a parody of Silk Sonic's "Leave the Door Open." We went hard on this. We went to Joshua Tree, rented out this like cool house. I've never gone this hard for a music video, but I felt like it deserved it, and it's fun. I
remember you did Return of the Mac, and that one.
Yeah, I did.
That one was pretty sick. So the bar is high. I'll check it out. That's good.
Okay, I mean, I'd love to hear what you think. If you saw Return of the Mac, then
okay.
I know how you like to raise that bar. We rose the bar.
Of course. Okay. All right. I see you.
Okay. That's good. So, Marques, thanks so much for hanging out. We'll see each other at the next events. And you're going to be at CES, I would assume?
Briefly, yeah. I'll touch down and take off. Probably, I'll be there for at least a day. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, we'll probably see each other out there, if not at some event in the next couple weeks, most likely.
Exactly. All right on, bro. Thanks so much for hanging out. And there you go, everybody. The best of these are not the MKBHDs. These are The BTs? Sure.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense? That doesn't make sense. Don't go with that.
New award show.
New award show. All right, bro. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.